Good evening, everyone. How are you doing? The weather is absolutely gorgeous, isn't it? And tonight, what we're going to talk about is some essential oil myths. So, I thought I'd cover this topic because I get asked a lot of questions, particularly regarding essential oils for pets, but also with regard to human health as well, about, what's true, what isn't true. And so I thought I'd cover this in a podcast or a video, depending on what platform you're watching this. And give you a little bit of insight into the actual truth behind these myths and why some of the myths have occurred in the first place. So for those that you don't know me, my name is Dr. Helene. I'm an emergency medicine doctor and also a certified animal aromatherapy specialist, and I love to help people with an integrative approach to their health using beautiful essential oils and food and getting us right back to nature and everything like that. So if you like what you're listening to, please hit the follow or the subscribe button, and I would love it if you'd leave me a 5-star review. And do tell me what it is you'd like to learn about so I can carry on creating more content that people want to listen to. And if you want to get essential oils into your life, then do drop me a message. You can find the links in the show notes or going across the bottom of the screen. And find out how I can help you. I do bespoke plans. I also supply beautiful essential oils which come with plans and for use of my membership as well for free. So without further ado, let's talk about some myths. And I've got a variety of different things, depending, for humans and pets to really sort of get there. Because I think people are have been for many years, haven't they, been in natural health? But I think there's definitely more of a rise in looking at ways that we can use natural options. And there are a lot of myths around, and I think the problem with a lot of these myths is they're you've got to look at where this information is coming from. Particularly if you search for something on Google, you have to look for where the information is coming from. And often it's people that perhaps have an alternative interest. For example, I'm thinking particularly of a vet who's anti everything natural, when it turns out he's actually involved. He's in a multi-million pound drug to promote pet longevity. So forgive me if I am a little bit skeptical there, so of his true intentions. But let's just start first of all. So one of the myths is that essential oils are merely fragrant oils without any real benefits. And that isn't true at all. Contrary to the belief, essential oils are not just pleasant scents. There is extensive research that has demonstrated their potent therapeutic properties. And these natural extracts have been around for hundreds of years, and they're celebrated for sort of anti-inflammatory, antimicrobial, soothing effects on both the body and mind, offering so much more than just an aroma. And I think we have to be really mindful as well when we're talking about essential oils, because there are things called fragrance oils. And so a lot of the fragrance oils, or what's called essential oils, actually come from the perfume industry, and they just take off the aromatic components of the oil. And so the essential oil is missing some of the constituents that actually make it a whole thing. And the problem with that as well is that all those constituents within the oil, nature knows best, operate within balance. And when you start altering things, that's why you will often see some fragrance oils say that they're not safe for use on the skin. That's often the problem. And that actually brings me on very nicely to myth 2, which is that all essential oils are created equally. And that, again, isn't true, because, as I've said, a lot comes from the perfume industry. But the efficacy of essential oils depends really on their source, purity, and how they are extracted. So when you're looking for high quality pure essential oils, that you need to find the company that is going to give you the sort of information from, say, example, the gas chromatography mass spectrometry results. And so this is basically, they've looked at the essential oil, and they actually show you in a graph form what the different percentages are of each constituent that makes up the oil. And whether or not an essential oil is pure or not relates to these certain percentages. There's sort of an agreed value of levels within an oil, such as beta-caryophyllene within copaiba, that relates to the purity. And so you want an oil brand that pays attention to that, but also is transparent and shows you these results of the batch, not just the results from, just a standard result. So if they're not showing them on the website, but you have to, email or go to a website for a particular batch number, that's because it's per batch rather than just something generic that might not relate to the actual bottle that you've picked up. So and if you're not using these pure oils, you're not going to get the benefits that you want. And many of these oils are either diluted, they are contaminated with, say, pesticides, or they're actually not even real oils. And so people are then using them thinking that, oh, well, it doesn't work, but it's because they're not using real oils. And then when you're using some of these artificial things, they can be harmful for your health and certainly for your pets. And I'm going to cover a bit about pet use as well. It's also important. Another myth is this sort of thought process that essential oils can replace medical treatment, and that isn't true at all. We should be looking at health in an integrative approach, and I'm really into this. There isn't just one. Each has a role, traditional and conventional. I mean, it's nice to integrate them to the best for the patient. And so, there's many ways that we can use them to complement sort of the, conventional health, or in some cases we might use it instead. But, important to stay open to both sides. And also, I would get professional advice. So do work with a practitioner who is skilled, such as myself. And obviously, I've got that benefit where I'm a doctor as well, because I do get people emailing me things about, can this be used with medicines and things like that? So that's something that my customers get access to. And so it really is important. And I would say to your healthcare professional, because I do appreciate that a lot of them won't know, is, do your own due diligence and then present it to your healthcare practitioner and say, this is what I've found. Is this safe to use? And they'll be able to have a good look at what medication you're on and your own health concerns, and hopefully they'll be open to you. So another myth is that diffusing essential oils is dangerous, and then also the myth that diffusing essential oils is dangerous for your pets. Now, I am actually diffusing here. I've got 2 dogs here and I've got Holly Cat here as well, so it's definitely not true. So the truth is that the safety of diffusing essential oils does depend on the quality of the oil. So again, if you're using poor quality oils, essential oils are concentrated, and if you've got oils that have perhaps been contaminated with pesticides, or they've got adulteration and synthetic components in that, you're diffusing that, and that's going into the air and it's landing on your pet's skin and things like that. So always use pure oils, and also the method of diffusion as well. So I always use a water-based diffuser. So you don't want to use any of these plugins or reed diffusers if you've got pets or anything like that, because it's just too intense, just too much for them. But a water-based diffuser on an intermittent setting, so typically it will be 5 minutes on, 5 minutes off, when you're using it around pets, and always make sure that they have they can leave the room if they want to. Now, I've actually got my door shut here, but I know that what I'm diffusing, both my dogs are fine, and if they wanted to leave, I'd just let them out. So it's absolutely fine. But pets, particularly dogs and cats, have a more acute sense of smell. So we have, humans, 5 to 6 million scent receptors. Our dogs and cats have about 200 to 300 million. So huge difference there. And so much more attuned to smell. So we don't want to overload them with essential oils. So that's, and the aromas. And that's, it's not just oils. And it's interesting because anytime you mention oils, people are like, oh, it's toxic, but they don't actually think about the Glade plug-in, should I say that? I probably get banned, or or the cleaning products that they're using around the home, or the perfume that they're using, or the all the other air fresheners, and all of these things can be harmful for us as well as our pets. And yet, you start using essential oils, and everyone's like, oh no, but essential oils, pure essential oils, are very natural. They are just more concentrated. So less is key. So, I would do just 3 to 4 drops in a diffuser. And again, as I said, making sure they leave the room. What I always do before I diffuse around my pets is I just offer them the bottle with the lid on, just to see that they don't run from the room with it. But they've got so many benefits for my pets. And I was just saying earlier on my private members Q&A, so my one of my dogs in here has bronchitis, and I actually have postnasal drip, and I was realizing this morning that I haven't actually had to use the roller that I usually use on my throat at this time of year, and I've been diffusing some oils in the bedroom to keep for his airways, so he gets a really good benefit from them, and obviously it's having an effect on me as well, so it's brilliant. So really beneficial. Now, another myth is that you should never touch your pet after applying essential oils. So this is again not true. Now, there's a couple of oils, well, there's more than a couple, that we perhaps shouldn't have come into contact with, things like wintergreen and tea tree and birch and nutmeg. They're a no-no. And we do want to be cautious with some of the hotter oils, such as oregano, maybe cinnamon and clove. But essential oils applied topically can be very beneficial for them. And, I use essential oils for all my dogs, for calming, for soothing. I've got 4 dogs with arthritis and different conditions. I've used them for wounds. I've got Holly Cat. She's had oils on her when she was unwell with a respiratory problem. So lots of different benefits there. So there's no reason they can't have them applied topically. But again, you do need to get expert advice. And I see so much being put out there that's incorrect. And I was just seeing a few months ago someone promoting a shampoo for flea repelling that's got tea tree in, and actually which isn't safe anyway. And then they were saying, oh no, it's safe, it's only 1% tea tree. But tea tree for a small dog, even 1% of an oil would be too much. And definitely it's a no-no with tea tree. So, do get advice from people like myself who actually know. I was trained by a vet for this particular reason, because I wanted to make sure I had the true understanding of how they could be used. Now, you do need to obviously be cautious as well about some oils that might irritate the eyes. Peppermint's a grand one there, because if you've ever inhaled peppermint close to your eyes, it makes your eyes water, but it's not toxic to your pets. It's just because of things like that. And my cats actually really love peppermint. And that's a good one, actually. Let's just talk about cats and toxicity, because there's this myth that says lemon and other citrus oils are toxic to cats. Guess what? That's not true either. And the truth of this is that there's actually, there's no scientific evidence of this at all. And you see all of this about the dangers of citrus and other oils, but there's, like I said, there's no scientific backing. There's been some studies. I think there was 2 studies that related to limonene, which is the component in lemon and citrus oils, being toxic to cat fleas, the flea of the cat. But that's the individual constituents. And as I already said, nature is all about balance. And so when we start interfering with nature, we don't get the things balancing each other out. And so it's really important that, again, that's something that you understand. But citrus oils are great. And my cats certainly like citrus oils. Now, cats do have specific metabolic limitations, but they can be safely used around them when you use proper precautions. And this is something that I teach to all my members as well. And, just really, I've always got oils on me, and my cats always love to come up to me. So she loves it. She loves citrus oils, and she loves peppermint as well. So there you go. So the other myth is essential oils cannot be ingested. So this is, again, not true. There is actually an FDA, so it's the Food and Drug Administration, the US Food and Drug Administration. They actually have a designation called GRAS, which is GRAS, which stands for Generally Recognized as Safe. And these are things that you can ingest. And there's several essential oils, quite a lot of essential oils, that are deemed as safe for ingestion. Now, the main reason why there's this sort of thing around essential oils can't be ingested is because they're not pure. And so, if someone's saying to you, if an essential oil is saying that, perhaps the lemon can't be ingested, it's obviously not a pure oil, because pure lemon essential oil is safe to be ingested. And a lemon oil is cold pressed from the zest of the lemon. So just as if we were scraping the zest off to put it in cooking, I use actually my citrus oils for cooking. That's what the lemon oil is. So you do need to, like I said, this is where it all comes down to the purity of the individual oil. So make sure you check the quality, and it will say on there. So the lavender oil that I use actually does say that it's safe for ingestion. So fantastic lavender shortbread, I can well recommend it. And they are also safe for your pets to ingest as well. My dogs have several oils in their food for a variety of things, particularly, for example, their arthritis, but also calming and soothing as well. So we've, one, and just something that I heard as well, is that there are actually three schools of aromatherapy. So there was the French, the British, and the Germans. And the British one found that if essential oils weren't so pure, they didn't have to. It was going to be easier if they weren't used for ingestion. So they could get away with inferior quality of oils. So that's what I've heard about as well. So another one, myth, is that more is better when using essential oils, and that's not true at all, because due to their high concentration, essential oils should be used sparingly, and a small amount can provide the desired therapeutic effect, while overuse can lead to skin irritations or other negative reactions. So it's just one drop is all you need a lot of the time. So I make up different rollers. Typically I've not got a roller here, but I make different rollers up. And, typically I'll be using maybe 10 drops in 10 mils of fractionated coconut oil for a roller for myself, maybe even just one drop for a small dog or a baby. They're so concentrated, and that's why we do need to be cautious and get expert advice. But they're so beneficial, and there's so much in just a drop. Well, so let's just look at another common pet myth that I'm always hearing about as well, is that they can cause liver or kidney damage in pets. So this is a misconception as well. So on the contrary, essential oils can actually support these organs. So things like copaiba, very, very good. Lemon and juniper berry, very good for the kidneys as well. So liver and kidney failure is common in pets due to a variety of factors, and essential oils are often unjustly blamed. And essential oils have been shown to have hepatoprotective effects in the literature as well. So there are studies out there where they actually show that they support rather than harm. Now, another myth is that excessive essential oil exposure is fatal to pets. Now, again, this is often due to incorrect use of oils, where there's been massive doses of oils, and actually instances of pets dying from essential oil exposure is actually extremely rare. And again, it's when there's been things like that, no one sort of paid any attention to the brand that's used. And it's been a massive amount. So if you are using sort of undiluted oils in large quantities, I think there was a death in a dog with tea tree, and the owner had used something like 2 bottles. So that's 2 10 mil or 15 mil bottles of tea tree. Then that is so much. I mean, I wouldn't even use tea tree with a pet. But if I was going to use an essential oil with a pet, for a small dog, you'd probably be using 1 drop, and that 1 to 2 drops, for a bigger dog, maybe 5 or 6 drops. That owner had used the equivalent of 500 drops. So that's why you're getting, problems. But most adverse reactions are actually mild, and they resolve very quickly. So you just want to dilute the oil. But if the pet shows signs of distress, obviously breathing difficulties, everything, you need to get to a vet themselves. But most of the time it's due to incorrect use. And I think it's really important for people to understand that just because something is natural doesn't mean it's inherently safe. And the most natural thing used in excess can cause problems. And something I always say to people in my classes is, the first person to actually die having ingested ecstasy was a young girl called Leah Betts. She didn't actually die from ecstasy. She died from water. She died from water ingestion. So, ecstasy causes you to get, increases your sort of activity levels, your energy, you're dancing around a lot, you're needing more water. So you're drinking more, and obviously what happened was she was drinking so much water, she got something called hyponatremia, which is low sodium in the body. It then can cause seizures, seizures, coma, and ultimately death. And that's water. That's something that's so natural that we drink every day, but anything can cause a problem if it's not used correctly and in excess. So I hope that's given you a bit of an idea about how useful essential oils are and corrected a few myths. I'm going to pop my blog posts in the show notes so you can have a bit more of a read. If you want to come to one of my classes and learn more, please check the links there as well. Come to see the events. I also have some recordings of webinars as well, and drop me a message and find out. Tell me what you want to learn about and find out how I can help you. And if you want to get kits, you can pop to my store, or like what I like people to do is drop me a little message, and so I can help you with a bespoke plan, and really help you find out what's going to be the most use for you, so that you're getting the oils that are going to benefit you and your pets, and you're not getting oils that perhaps you don't need, because essential oils are so fabulous to have in a toolkit of natural wellness solutions. And if you actually sort of understand all the truth behind all these common misconceptions, you can use them safely and effectively. And they have literally changed my life. They have changed my pet's life, and I use them in all three ways: diffuse, topically, and ingest them as well. And they literally have made a huge difference both to my physical health and the emotional health of myself and my pets. I literally every day we are using them for a whole host of different reasons, and I've got 2 cats and 6 dogs, and they have literally rocked our world. So I hope that's given you some useful advice about using essential oils, and how and what to not to believe some of these myths that you commonly see going around the internet. Can you hear my dog Rowan snoring? I don't know if you can, but they are wonderful and they are safe to use with pets, but with guidance. Okay, so with the avoiding those ones that we want to avoid. So as I said, pop to the show notes, check out some of these this information. I've got some free downloads there for you, as well as also my classes and my webinars. So don't forget to hit the follow and the subscribe button, and tell me what you want to learn about as well. And if you'd leave me a 5-star review, I would love it, because it helps me get the message out and helps spread how we can use these wonderful things safely and effectively. Stay safe, stay well. Thanks for watching. Take care now.